curio cards. Just about this time last week, they had an auction at Christie's for an original set of curio cards plus the 17B misprint. The auction sold for more than $1 million, with the prize going to Taylor Gehring, one of the co-founders of Ethereum. A very exciting auction and a very exciting project, Curio Cards NFTs from 2017. But now there's new Curio Cards. That's right. Curio Cards Plus launched just yesterday with myself, some of the other co-founders of Curio Cards, and three of the original Curio Card artists who have joined us to make new cards. There's new NFTs happening in the world. Josh Shigala, what do you think about the relaunch of Curio Cards and the incredible success of the original Curio Cards at the Christie's auction?
Yeah, what I find fascinating is that, Curio cards have, for me, great value because they were the very first NFT on Ethereum, and in terms of a collectible, and so that to me is fascinating, and I see that there's this overhyped boom of these NFTs now. It's such a massive bubble, but there's certain things that I think are really, really important here, is that artists that have built a name, done the hard yards, really worked hard to build their brand, can start to allow their artwork to be traded. So that puts them aside from just someone creating something a million times with different variations and selling it. That stuff's getting boring. I think it'll move out of that realm very, very quickly. Things like the firsts will always be valuable, things like that. But I'm really excited that you guys that created the very first NFT on Ethereum are now adding to that collection. Some would say that that's, well, you're turning on the printers, but I don't feel so. I think there's like the first collection, and then there's, the second collection. So they're different in terms of the psychology of what people would deem as a collectible. So I think it's really, really nice that you guys are taking that thing and running with it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the artists come up with.
It is pretty amazing to have them sold at Christie's and to have the first set and then now the second set. There are just so many more artists who could use promotion, and it's kind of like a magazine to help promote these artists, bringing on new artists as well as the original artists, and just in general making more NFTs because it's fun. It's why we got into this in the first place. Ben, Ark, your thoughts on Curio Card NFTs and NFTs in general?
I wasn't here because I think one of the last shows I did, it was about to go to Christie's, and then I wasn't here for the episodes around Christie's. So I have absolutely, and I've also just been out of touch. Could have been busy moving and whatever else. Hence the new studio, by the way. So I have no idea how well they did at Christie's. Did they do really well, these Curio cards?
Well, they sold for $1 million. There was a handful of bidders. They were at the high end.
Well, the full collection.
The full collection. They were at the high end of the Christie's range of the expected sales. So they satisfied sales. They didn't overwhelm. But again, it's just completely crazy. Yeah, Ben, you've been gone a while since your friend's old startup project from 2017 sold at an impossible auction house for an impossible price.
It's incredible. And I remember seeing those videos on YouTube because you were doing, and I watched maybe a couple of them, but I really like the fact that, you're obviously promoting artists and you're giving them some sort of greater audience. But I think the most important thing is back then when clearly you and a few others started building this industry, this NFT industry, there just wasn't monetary reward there. It was you doing it for the love of it. And the fact that you could create scarcity of somebody's artwork and then have it in a tradable way, but not in a million years would you have considered, that those collections of cards would then be sold at Christie's for $1 million. Which is the difference. Now everybody who's making these NFTs on these drag and drop NFT building programs, they're all doing it, thinking they're going to make a load of money, and some of them may, some of them probably won't. one of my neighbors was talking to me about NFTs the other day, and I thought, well, this is probably time to jump ship. But actually, you know, things like video games and stuff, like the having things which are actually scarce and provably scarce is still huge. And just in our digitally native realm, which more and more of us spend our time, like, you need scarcity, and NFTs have barely scratched the sides, you know, for what their potential is. And their actual potential value. And I think Curio Cards, as part of the historical journey, and also such an interesting project as well, because they're encapsulating, you know, they were I mean, as with, you know, things like Rare Pepe as well, they were of their time, and they tell part of that story. I think they're going to have tremendous value, and it makes sense that, I know that, you know, you personally want us to keep Curio Cards going much longer than they did originally, as a project. So it must be really nice for you to, now there is some sort of, you know, momentum behind the project, more people know about it. It must be nice for you to be able to, you know, resuscitate a project which you very much enjoyed working on, and then also, you know, have it as perhaps a way of earning some sats and getting some income as well. But I had a look through the website, and it was great, and it was nice seeing some of those old pictures as well from the Bitcoin San Francisco meetups. And then, yeah, I could see like why, you know, you're friends with someone like Rhett, because Rhett for me is just sort of something of a scammy kind of character, but obviously he had his hands in many pies. And he was in these San Francisco meetups, and he was working on interesting projects, as well as, you know, some more dubious projects such as the Curio Card things as well. So yeah, it's great. It's good luck to you. It's incredible that they did so well at Christie's, and it's a brave new world.
Well, I want to echo what Ben and Josh said, where the Curio Cards are kind of different than the generative art projects. It's not like a punk with a cigar or a punk with shades or he has green hair or whatever. They're a lot more like an artist print, where you can't afford the original. No one can really afford original art. But if the artist makes prints of it and they sign them and they number them like 1 of 100, sometimes, you know, a normal person can afford that. And I think that's a really neat thing. And it's a connection to the artist. Like when I collect a signed book or something like that, I'm getting something that the artist touched. I'm getting a connection to them. And in the same way, these unique signatures that make up the NFTs are the connection to the artist. They are the signed book.
It'll become standard de facto, I imagine, that you'll walk through an art gallery in years to come, and there'll be the option to buy the painting or buy the print or buy the NFT. Like, it'll just be another option, you know, to make that connection with the artist, like you say.
And it's amazing to have come this far, because when we tried to introduce it first, no one was interested. No one understood it. Even, you know, we had kind of small sales yesterday. Gas prices are crazy. But when we originally launched it, we had no sales. We didn't have 20 people and a Discord of people chatting about it. We had nothing. So having anybody at all that thinks these are cool cards and wants to take a risk on them and wants to collect them is just very exciting. So it's a whole new landscape.
I mean, I'll be honest, I couldn't see it at all. And I remember seeing those videos and just thinking, you're off your head. Like, what's this thing? I didn't know you're into this. I know you're arty, but I didn't realize you're into this sort of world. It's the same with the Rare Pepe stuff. But I had a mate recently show me a Rare Pepe card, which they bought for, you know, X amount of thousands of pounds. And now it's like you know, a £900,000 almost £1 million Rare Pepe card. And at the time when they bought it for X amount of thousands of pounds, I was thinking, you're an idiot. What have you done? Why have you done that? I was like, you know, how other people would speak to, you know, about something like Bitcoin, for example. I was like that about NFTs. I was completely and utterly wrong. They've got tremendous value, and they're very important to our future society, I imagine.
Well, and back in the day, I even had to kind of hide that I was working on the project. Like, I didn't want to promote it too much on the World Crypto Network, or I had to do it on the Mad Bitcoins, or I'd do it on the Curio Cards video channel itself, because I didn't want to piss off my hardcore Bitcoin maximalist partners at the time, like Tone and Jimmy and other people who would just hang you if you tried anything else in the system. And I also want to give a shout out again to Theo Goodman.
Theo Goodman, he was telling us for months, he was trying to indoctrinate us. Buy Rare Pepe, buy Rare Pepe cards.
He made speeches. He went around. He gave presentations. We had a thing on the Bitcoin group where every answer he tried to make it about Rare Pepe, which was a little much. we told him to stick it at the end of the show and to still promote it. Like, we're not banning it like he says now, which is strange. But yeah, we're just like, not every question has to be the rare pepper. I love you, man, but like, not every question. But he took that wrong, and he's still mad at me on Twitter, and I wish he wasn't. And he also has very right-wing political views and likes to mock people online, which is his choice. You communicate how you want to communicate. But yeah, I miss Theo. I'm sorry we can't talk to him and that he's angry at us now. But I hope that he has enough rare pepes to buy an island, and I hope that that buys him satisfaction and happiness. And I hope he bought the rare pepes. I don't hope this isn't one of those things, like, I don't want to mention the names, but some people support things early on and then they sell them because people convince them, and then it's sad when they succeed. So hopefully Theo has a thousands of rare pepes and very happy and selling the auctions. And again, he can give the same speech that he gave years ago, but now at huge conventions, and they'll love all the jokes. And we loved all the jokes. I loved his speeches at Essen and other places where I got to see Theo speak. But again, I wish Theo the best. He's angry at me. That happens.
I didn't know.
But yeah, he is. It's all on Twitter. He's like, he likes to get angry. I don't know. But rare pepes are cool. I always said they were cool. I was always like,
yeah, he did get a bit much every single week. Every single answer to every question was rare pepes. But in hindsight, he was probably trying to do us all a big favor in making us buy rare pepes.
It's another thing where the Bitcoin maximalism causes you sometimes to miss out on these opportunities.
Yeah.
I remember when we talked about Ethereum and the crowd sale, I'm sure I said it, and it doesn't matter. You say whatever you want. If you buy things, you buy things. But I said, maybe we should take a flyer on this Ethereum. Maybe we should say, well, maybe we're wrong and maybe it goes crazy. And I didn't do it. I took no flyers. But anyone that took a flyer on that crowd sale killed it. And the same if you bought rare pepes early and a lot of these other things. Sometimes you're rewarded for taking risks. And even if you're a maximalist and you like Bitcoin or whatever, you could still take a risk if you want. You could still like really love Bitcoin. But again, at the time, they'll string you up for that.